Hello everyone. In this video I'll be solving Cambridge IGCSE Information and Communication Technology paper 3 for the year November 2021. We are going to solve the spreadsheet task in this one. You have been supplied with the following source files. So I have the files here. First, create a new word process document for the evidence. Open a Word document. We have to make sure the name, center number and candidate number will appear on every page, and it must be saved as N21 evidence. So go to Insert. In the header we have to insert the candidate details. Type the name here, candidate number and center number. This must be saved as N21 evidence followed by your center number and candidate number. Task 2, data analysis. This is the task which we have to do. All the currency values must be in US dollars displayed to 2 decimal place. Open and examine the files N21 islands. Open islands. This file will be used to provide data for your spreadsheets, and data must not be copied or changed. Open N21 cost. So let's open cost. Place in the footer, right align the text cost prepared by followed by a space, your name, center number and candidate number, then a space followed by on followed by a space and today's automated date. This should be in the footer, right aligned. In cost, go to insert, header and footer. In the footer, right aligned, we have to type cost prepared by, then your name, center number, candidate number, then space on, then again a space and today's date. So go to the design, you can give current date. That's done. Let's come back to the normal view, view normal. Make sure all the cells are visible. This should be saved as N21 costs followed by your center number and candidate number. So save as followed by your center number and candidate number, and it must be saved as Excel workbook. Insert 2 new rows above row 1. So 2 new rows, so select 2 rows here, right click, insert. So we have 2 rows here. Merge cells A1 to C1 and enter the text cost of plastic removal for 1 island. So A1 to C1, select, we have to merge it, merge and center, and we have to enter the text cost of plastic removal. Next, format the merge cell A1 to C1 to contain white 26 point text on a dark blue background. So the size must be 26, dark blue, white text on a dark blue background. Format the spreadsheet to look like this. You can see the text comes on 2 lines. Increase the width of the row and set wrap text. Press Alt and enter so that the text is set as we require. Now you can see row 2 is partly hidden here. So let's make it partly hidden. And in column A, all the text is right aligned. It should be right aligned. So all the formatting is done. In cell B12, enter a function to look up the name of the island using the code entered in cell B11. In cell B12, we have to use a VLOOKUP function. So VLOOKUP, start the bracket and click on FX. So the lookup value is the code. This is the lookup value. Table array. Table array is this island table. So we need the island name which is in the second column. So the column index is 2 and range lookup is 0. So we got the island name here. Next we have to do the distance of island from the recycling plant. So similar function, but we need the distance. Equals lookup value is the island code. Table array is again the island table. And we need the distance. Distance is in the fourth column. So the column index is 4 and range lookup is 0. Give OK. In cell B14, enter formula to calculate the total distance traveled to the island and back. So this is the distance traveled to the island. So back means we have to multiply by 2 or twice this value. So equals 2 multiplied by this value. Next, in cell B15, enter a formula to calculate the number of hours the return journey will take. This is calculated as return distance divided by operating speed multiplied by contents of cell B6. This has to be done in cell B15. Return distance equal to return distance divided by, start a bracket, operating speed, this is the operating speed, multiplied by contents of cell B6. So this is the value. This has to be rounded up to the nearest whole hour. So we have to use a round up function. So equal to round up. So since we need a whole number, the decimal place is 0. So the value, this is the complete value which has to be rounded up. So the value comma number of decimal place, that is 0. Close the bracket for round up function. Next, in cell B16, enter a formula to calculate the fuel used for the journey. This is calculated as return journey time multiplied by fuel consumption equals return journey time multiplied by fuel consumption. So this cell. In cell B17, enter a formula to calculate the fuel cost for the journey. So this is the fuel used, 925.2 liters, and this is the fuel cost per liter. So the fuel cost for the journey is equals this value multiplied by the fuel cost per liter. In cell B18, enter a formula so that if the return journey time is less than 10 hours, it displays the value 4. Greater than or equal to 10 hours and less than or equal to 15, it displays the value 6. Greater than 15, it displays 9. So if it's less than 10, it is 4. If the return journey time is less than 10, it must be 4. In B18, equal to, if return journey time, that means this one, is less than 10, the number of crew required is 4. So, comma 4. Next one. Now, next I am doing this condition. If it's greater than 15, it displays 9. So, again we'll start with if function. If it's greater than 15, the value must be 9, comma, in the false value, now we can give 6, because if it's not less than 10 or if it's not greater than 15, that means it is between 10 and 15. So it must be 6. So, comma 6. You can close two brackets because we have used two if functions. So this is the required value. In cell B19, enter a formula to calculate the cost of the crew from the return journey. Each journey will have 2 crew members paid at crew rate A and the other crew members will be paid at crew rate B. So 2 of them will be paid at crew rate A. So equals 2 multiplied by crew rate A, means this one, plus the remaining will be paid at crew rate B. So the remaining means this is the total number of crew. So this minus 2 multiplied by crew rate B. So this cost is per hour. So we need to find for the whole journey. So let's multiply this complete value by the total journey time. So multiply by this one. Because these values, crew rate A and crew rate B, is per hour, but we need it for the whole journey. So we'll multiply by the time taken, that is 9 hours, or this cell B15. Now we have to find the total cost of the journey. In cell B20, enter a formula to calculate the total cost of the journey, which includes fuel, crew and port taxes. So equal to fuel cost plus crew cost plus port taxes, that means this one. So this is the total value. Apply appropriate formatting to cells containing numeric values in the spreadsheet. So in the beginning, all the currency values must be set to US dollars with 2 decimal place. So this is the cost. This and this, all these are the cost. So right click, format cells, go to currency, set it as US dollars with 2 decimal place. Give OK. Save your spreadsheet, print your spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure the row and column headings are displayed. So first display the formula, go to formula, show formula. Make sure everything is visible. So click at this corner and double click on the border so that all the formula are visible. Row and column headings are displayed. Page orientation is landscape. Grid lines are displayed. So go to File, Print option. Go to the page. First we have to set it to landscape. Then go to Page Setup. On Sheet, the grid lines must be visible and the row and column headings. So select these two, give OK. So the row and column headings and the grid lines are visible, and this needs to be printed. Next we have to print the values. Make sure row and column headings are not displayed, grid lines are not displayed, and the printout fits on a single portrait page. So go back and remove the formula. So on formulas, deselect this. Again adjust the columns. Now go to print. It must be set to portrait and make sure it fits on one page. Then go to Page Setup. Remove the grid lines and row and column headings. So this is the required data which is to be printed. Change the data to calculate the cost of plastic removal from the island with the code G5. So the code must be changed to G5 and you will get new values here. So this has to be printed as we did the previous task. Next, open and examine the file n21chart.csv. n21 chart. Cells B2 to B10 must calculate the average distances from the recycling center to the islands in each atoll, rounded to the nearest mile. Enter a formula in cell B2 that displays the average distance for the islands in the first atoll, and then replicate this formula into cells B3 to B10. So we need to find the average distance to this atoll, which is GAF. So here if you look at this cost, you can see the atoll is given and the distance is given here. We need to find the average distance based on the atoll. So I'll be using an average if function equals average if, start the bracket, click on fx. We have to enter the range, criteria, and the average range. Now range is the column from which you can find your criteria. So the criteria or the condition which is to be checked is this one. For the first row, we are finding the average distance for GAFU. So that will be the criteria. Now range is the column in which your criteria appears in the main table. So this is the main table. So from this we have to select. And average range is the distance column from which we have to find the average. So select this. So this is the required formula. The range is the column C2 to C86 which contains the criteria, and criteria is the first atoll in the first row, and average range is the distance column. Give OK. So we got the average distance. You can replicate this. Create and fully label. It should be rounded to the nearest mile. So we have to use a round function equals round to the nearest mile, means we have to set this as a whole number. So comma 0, because we need whole number. So it is rounded to the nearest mile. Now let's replicate. So we got the average distance here. Create and fully label an appropriate chart to display this data. Save this as a spreadsheet. So select this data, insert. We can use a bar chart. So click here and then bar chart is displayed. Now we need to label the chart properly. So the title is Average Distances from the Recycling Center to the Islands. Let's give the chart axis title. Click on this plus sign, axis title. Now let's change this to at all, and this one is average distance. So this is the required chart. Evidence 1, take a screenshot of the formula used to calculate the average distance. So show the formula. Let's take a screenshot. This should be evidence 1. So in your evidence document, paste the screenshot. So this is evidence 1. Next, evidence 2, take a copy of the chart, place this in your evidence document. So this is the chart, copy. Evidence 2, paste the chart here. Make sure it is completely visible. So this is your evidence 2. So this is the end of the spreadsheet task. The web page is uploaded in another video. You can find the link in the description. Thank you for now.